It's November the 23rd, 2021, and you know why you're here, so let's kick this off right and introduce the players. Hey, I am Jarosar, a PvP Padawan.
Hey everyone, and I'm Andolin, and welcome to the show. Guys, today we've got a really cool guest, Mr. Grant from Reno. He has been...
Sorry, thanks for having me.
Okay. Yeah, welcome to the show, man. It's good to have you. I was just about to explain how you've been a big player in the esports, the community esports scene as of late, and you've done some really awesome things behind the Reno banner, and I've actually been a part of some of those things, and we're really excited to speak with you today, so thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm excited to talk about Reno as always, and WoW, one of my other favorite subjects, so thank you guys so much.
Yeah,
so hey, pleasure.
So for those of us who don't really know or aren't really familiar with Reno, give us a little bit of like a background on what is Reno, what do you guys do, and what's your role in the cog, or what's your cog in the machine, so to speak?
Yeah, so I started Reno about it's been more than like 2015 basically when we started it. This is my second startup. And my co-founder, kind of the quick story, the genesis story of it was my co-founder and I, we built, our first thing was a chat application. I'm definitely underselling it. It was before Discord, before Slack. Basically let you chat on the same website. We were doing like cool crypto stuff. But we wanted to get involved in esports since we're just big fans of it and we, see the potential. It's kind of funny too, in talking to other people, like older generations, they're still asking like, is esports a fad? We definitely don't think it's a fad. But the genesis came about when my co-founder was Mario, he was looking at actually Liquipedia, and there was going to be a StarCraft match, and a bunch of fans were wanting to donate to whoever, basically a prize pool, whoever would win this match. And so one of the admins came into the forum and was like, hey, here's my PayPal email, PayPal me the money and I'll make sure it goes to the winner. So that was like, we're like, okay, let's just build something to make this easy. Basically an escrow system. Now the initial idea was a little bit different in that when we started, we thought, hey, let's like basically automate a tournament, right? Like let's have, if you want to see two players play or 5v5, whatever it is, let's, you can donate money, say which players you want to see play. And then hopefully if it got to a certain, amount, these players would play. Mm-hmm. What ended up happening was, we kind of forced the first match to happen. And we learned that it's not as easy. It's really tough to automate, I should say, like an event. And you guys know this, like there's so much more that goes into it other than, what the time is and who's playing. And even that's basically so hard to automate. You have to market it. You have to, like, production wise. And so we kind of switched gears and saying, hey, you know what? Our customer is what we call the TO, the tournament organizer. Let's build tools to make everything easy for them. So let's make it easy. And prize pool payouts are something that, especially if you never played in a tournament, you really don't realize how many issues there are in actual prize pools, specifically players just getting paid, what they were told they get paid on a timely manner. So we didn't realize that too. And in every single esport we've ever encountered, at all prize pool sizes, there are just basically shit show after shit. Sorry, I don't know if I'm allowed to curse. It's bad everywhere. Mm-hmm. And so since then, we've our North Star is helping prize pools get bigger. We want, our final boss is like the international, Dota 2. We want to be the services that or tools that any tournament can use to just monetize better. One of the biggest issues, and I can talk about it forever, but one of the biggest issues in esports, and frankly, specific like WoW has this, issue in spades, is just being able to monetize events.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So before I
Yep.
keep on going, that's basically the quick pitch.
I love it. That's awesome.
I'm
Yeah,
energized
you guys have
already.
been you guys have always been a pleasure to work with too. So I mean, you've definitely taken the whole idea of your TO being your customer to heart. Um,
Yeah.
and I think that's pretty evident in how you guys operate and how you like to conduct yourselves. So I mean,
I
that's
think
been really
yeah,
good.
it's one of our secret sauce things, and I think it's just
Hmm.
we've seen a lot, and it's been a while, like 6+ years in startup world, especially esports is like grandfather of time. But we've seen a lot of people come into the space and just think it's like, oh hey, I'm sure you guys have seen it in taglines, but it's like built by gamers for gamers. But like you really do have to understand the TO, and there's all these different kind of types of communities too. And
Oh,
one
yeah.
of the things, and this isn't like a jab at TOs too, but you'd think too, especially being like an esports organizer, that you're super willing to like adopt new technology. We've found that's not really the case. People are ingrained in what they want to use and what they have been using, and like basically they just get it to work, and then they're like happy, and they don't want to really do anything. So yeah, TOs, understanding them is our kind of secret sauce. And the other thing too is just dealing with money. I think like even something like with like Bitcoin, it takes a long time for people to want to like use it and trust it. It's same for us. Like when we got started, we would go to a TO and be like, hey, your tournament with like $100 in it, like let us manage the $100. Like
Hmm.
that was not something that people wanted to do. So
No.
yeah, we sponsored
Right.
tournaments, and we basically one foot in front of the other, just worked with more and more TOs, make sure that they're each successful. So there's no quick hack to working with to understanding the customer and getting the customer.
Right.
Yeah, I think we can all relate, like at this table, just because we've all done some organization and whatnot, and just how much there is into it. And like you said, World of Warcraft is its own beast, but every single platform or every single event is its own beast. Between the players, the tournament organizers, the game itself, the wants and the wishes, and how people want the flow to work, and just trying to get it from idea, conceptualized idea to get it out, and what you guys have done over at Match Reno definitely has helped, just because it becomes it's its own eco culture there, just because you do the prize payouts, you do the monetization in the back for it to help people support. There's all the tournament support there as well with the brackets and everything. It's like an all-in-one package, which is really awesome.
Turnkey would be the word.
Turnkey,
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's definitely. But I can't imagine it was turnkey from the beginning. Like it sounds like it's been an evolving beast over time that has gotten it to where it is now.
Yep, definitely an evolving beast, and kind of quickly to touch on the future, like we are all about monetization, and it's become like when we first built it too. One of the things we realized pretty early on was we saw some organizers just do an amazing job of just raising a bunch of money, but then you can only like you can kind of tap into your community and like squeeze it, so to speak, but you can't rely on just community donations. Like we one of our favorite examples is a guy in the FGC, NYC Furby, and their tournaments were like $50 prize pools, and now they're like $1,000 every week.
Oh, wow.
Just through like basically crowdfunding. But that's not enough. And like you'll see if you tap the community too much, like then next week it's not going to be as much crowdfunding.
Right.
Basically, my whole you know spiel, and I've said it so many times, is if you look at traditional sports, it's a crazy percent of money comes from sponsors. It's like 80%. So we think that it's going to be the same in esports. And so that's why we're really trying to focus on building things for sponsors, to get sponsors involved, because at the end of the day, when esports is kind of, shakes out, most of the money is going to come from brands.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, how do you help the brand get as much value from the audience, like in an authentic way, is really what we're trying to focus on.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense. That's a tough problem to crack. That's for sure.
So just kind of
Go.
tapping into that though, just a little bit before we move on. Have you picked up on anything on like the frequency of certain events? So like because kind of being in the space too, I've had a lot of people. I mean, I've even had discussions with the Blizzard Esports team about this on like oversaturation of events versus undersaturation, and basically like, are you oversupplying the market with tournaments or events and stuff like that? Have you guys had any kind of collected any data or gotten any kind of convinced of any types of
It's a
I guess
really
guidelines in terms of frequency?
Yeah, I mean, oversaturation, it's a really interesting topic. I mean, at the end of the day, there's only, people want to watch like the biggest thing going on, and there's only so
Mm-hmm.
many days in the month. Um, and we've seen too, it doesn't like really directly answer your question, I guess, but like it can be brutal with TOs. I'm not going to name any names, but we've seen the shadiest stuff go on with like um, just TOs infighting, like when
Oh yeah.
really they should be more like, rising tide. How do they schedule together? But like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
scheduling over events, it's a real thing. Um,
Wow.
and yeah, I mean, ideally, I guess that, there's something to watch every day if you're a big fan of WoW or Fortnite or whatever the game is. Um, and I think the publisher has a decent role in this. Like, I think they should kind of be the ones to have the, Super Bowl of their game and put some sort of, I don't know about criteria, but um, yeah, it's kind of a different topic, but kind of publishers being laissez-faire and like letting the community run
Mm-hmm.
itself versus like, being heavy-handed and like helping schedule things. But
Right.
um,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know exactly. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. I was just curious as if you guys had come across any kind of like truth bombs or any kind of tidbits or anything like that about like, from our experience, we've found that most TOs, you know, I don't know, tournament a week is too much, or maybe like once a month is a sweet spot, or I don't know.
It's the days. Like you really, you're gonna want a
Yeah.
weekend, and then those weekends get fought over, and then obviously
Yeah, so
different.
just peak hours. Yeah, just throw it in, you'll be fine.
Exactly, yeah, it's peak hours, and then you get pushed. You get pushed to the side, because it can really mess up. Well, actually, the first WoW tournament we did, we had Asmongold like halfway through promoting it, be like, we're gonna run a tournament on the same day. I don't think there
Mhm.
was. I don't even think he knew our tournament existed. So I don't think there was anything malicious there. But that kind of stuff can happen too, because like yeah,
Right.
people want to do it on those popular days. But and this probably applies to lots of things, but consistency, right? So if you have that second week or whatever it is that you do, whether it's once a month, once a week, once a year, consistency, I think, is like one of the better things you can do to grow
Yeah.
an audience.
Yeah.
Consistency seems like the best thing for your content if you're in any
Mm,
shape or form a content creator. So,
exactly,
yeah.
exactly.
Agreed.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
why
All right.
we
Well,
keep doing this every other Tuesday.
no, but we try to help our organizers, with like TO hacks. We've put on Surmi on our team, who's fantastic, has put on a number of different like just general advice tips. Also, obviously, specifically using Maturino, but
Mhm.
for TOs, how to help their event, grow it, promote it.
Neat.
Yeah, so I mean, there are a lot of things you can do. Consistency is one of them. Obviously, a prize pool, um, helping
It
get
helps.
sponsors, which we're really trying to do.
Mhm.
Mhm.
There's a lot of things. Um, but yeah, making sure it just runs well,
Yeah.
obviously for the players. Cause like, that's one of the other things that will, help TOs explain where it's like, hey, your first one might not be that big, but if you're paying out everyone on time and the players are happy, they're going to keep coming back. And if you can get bigger
Yep.
ratings, that's going to help drive fans.
Totally. Speaking of driving fans, though, how can we drive some of our fans to you? Where would we find you on the internet before we push on to the next? You've talked all this other stuff, but we haven't really talked Grant.
We, I don't need to promote myself. Just from Reno, like we're looking for TOs.
Okay.
You know, like we don't necessarily go out to like esports fans. We go out to the TOs because then they bring the fans.
Okay.
And yeah, so if you're looking to organize a tournament, it's kind of speaking of WoW too. So I was a big WoW vanilla player back in the day when I was playing Classic, and I saw on my server that they were going to run a quick dueling tournament, and I reached out to the organizer and was like, "Hey, like I'm Grant, I work on this thing called Match Reno, and we can help in a number of different ways." And they're like, "Okay, yeah, sure, like let's do it." Like I was from the server, so it was a good fit.
Yeah.
And they ended up raising like $1,000 on their first. Like this is like a small dueling tournament.
That's awesome.
So anyway, that kind of stuff is cool to see. But yeah, if you're interested in running anything, I think a lot of people are kind of bogged down and like, let's just make this like tournament work, and then we'll focus on monetizing and all these other things. But you're really doing yourself a disservice. Like the fans, more often than not, they want to donate. They want to help support the event, and everything's about sustainability. So having money behind it to pay the winners or even pay your organizer yourself a little bit, it turns, we want to, and this is what we want to do. We want to turn it from, something that's just a labor of love to like, hopefully a full-time job. We're still not there yet really with organizers. Some of them we kind of are, but but anyway, matchreno.com. We have a whole partnership program. We actually just broke 1,000 different partners. If you're interested in running an event, please reach out to us. We would love to help.
All right. That's awesome. Hopefully some of our listeners take you up on that, actually.
Awesome.
Just before I really want to hear what Andolin's need, greed, and pass is. But before we do that, I have to ask, Andolin, what have you been up to these last 2 weeks since our last? Shoot, it's been over a month since you've been on, buddy. What have you been up to?
Oh, geez. Yeah, it has been a long time. I have been doing all kinds of stuff. I've been running like a chicken with my head cut off across the southeast U.S. for work. That's been fun. It's been eventful. I was sick for a solid 2 weeks. That was fun. And so I'm just kind of getting back into the swing of things now. And so I mean, just today I got home from like an 8-hour drive, and threw my headset on and scarfed down a burrito, and I'm here.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I appreciate
that's what I've been up to. Absolutely, yeah.
So during your bout of COVID or that you had and the recovery from that, did you get any gaming time in, or did you were you just like
I did
flat out?
Oh, I did. I've I've actually really been. Oh, I should have mentioned this. I've been going hard in New World actually, and I've really been enjoying it. And I'm on the server Cedar Forest, and I used to be, not until when I got COVID. I wasn't so much an integral part of the Marauders, taking over some different regions and stuff like that. But I need to be able to support them again. I'm sure they're missing my level 20 bow skills. But yeah, I've been really enjoying New World. Cool. I think it's been a really well put together game. Also, kind of jumping back into the Overwatch scene a little bit with some friends, just because I like playing games with people. So
that social side.
Yeah, absolutely.
I am sorry. Something just what the heck? All right. Sorry, just got distracted by a little alert there. Sorry. Tell me quickly about New World. So I've seen some gameplay in that. Just your quick hot take, PvP side. What's it like?
Yeah. So the PvP has been really good. You have the option whether or not to run around in the open world with PvP on or with it off.
Okay.
Of course, if you have it on, you get 10% bonus experience.
Of course.
And it's been really cool in New World because like when I was leveling and I'm running around with PvP on because I'm like, heck yeah, I'm not turning PvP off. It's funny because like so many people don't turn it on. And I'm like, all right, suit yourself. I'll take my extra 10% experience and be on my merry way. But and I kill everybody.
Nice.
So and my reasoning is I'm not griefing you. You just chose the wrong faction. So I mean it's really your fault at the end of the day. So it's really fun in that sense. And the PvP has been really strong, really solid.
Nice.
It's engaging because like the fights are really the combat is really well done and it's skill based. I'm not locked in. Like when I was level 44, I took down a level 58 in a
Whoa.
one-on-one and it
Okay.
was tough. Like I had to have the right potions equipped and all this stuff. And you know, the time that I put into the side and the crafting parts of the game really helped me in my one-on-one, and I found different things like honing blocks that I could use to get like 200% 200% weapon damage. And so it's really cool to be able to utilize and find all the different pieces and facets of the game that are going to be able to help buff your character and stuff like
Nice.
that. And so it's been really good. Plus with the whole territory and guilds being able to control areas and set the tax rates in cities and the property taxes and stuff like that. And
That's cool.
it's really well done. It's really well done. I can give you a dissertation of how the game kind of works because it's really well thought out in terms of the actual area interactions and actually keeping the PvP something that you keep coming back to as opposed to like it's the same thing all the time. I've had my fix, you know.
Yeah.
So it's really dynamic in that regard.
Nice. That's exciting.
Yeah.
I wish I had time to do everything I want to do.
Yeah, I know.
And now that I've missed that initial curve, I'm afraid of joining and like being like the level 1 and yeah, a bunch of level 60s coming in and swoop on me or something like that.
You don't even have to worry about that.
Yeah.
I feel like I mean there's a lot of people who don't turn PvP on unless they're running around in a group. It's not a whole lot of people that run around in a group, but like the point is the space is big enough and the world is big enough to where I feel like if I was to level up from level 1 again, I would keep PvP on the whole time.
Okay.
And even if you run into someone who's level 30 and you're level 15, you've got a solid chance to take them out.
I think that's really cool. I think
I mean,
skill matters that much.
Yeah, like they've got some more stats because they're higher level. But I mean, hey, if you land your bow shots or musket shots, or you close the gap, or you use the right weapon combo against them, like you can definitely take them out. Oh
nice.
yeah, absolutely.
All
they
right.
still take some. You chunk them still.
Cool. All right. I might not be so afraid then.
I bought it and I played it for like literally 25 seconds.
Why'd you stop?
I really wanted to check it out, and I'm in like there's this old like guild that I've kind of kept in touch with the guild leader from Albion. If you guys ever played that game,
dude, Dark Age of Camelot.
I never played that, although I had friends back in high school. That's what kind of actually got me.
Albion the game. Okay, gotcha.
Oh yeah, sorry, Albion the game.
Okay,
which is like it has some cool stuff to it.
Yeah,
but anyway, yeah, I loaded it in and I want to play with those guys. I just haven't been able to get some time, and I've been like, I'm almost like just daunted to like go in, and just because I know I'll get obsessed. So, but it sounds like so much fun, and the PvP especially, like, you're making me want to play it.
Yeah, I'm pretty. I want to be in there too. Oh, all right.
Yeah. It's I love it because the end game, like everyone's like, yo, the PvE you can do without it. Like it kind of sucks. I mean, it doesn't actually suck. People just say that, so you know that's kind of where it is. It's like it's okay, and it's really not bad. But the end game is all about PvP and crafting. It's like you can craft the best gear and you can craft the best stuff in the game. And I love that. I love the fact that crafting plays such an integral role, and crafting is the end game in a lot of ways. So I love that aspect. I think it gives so much depth to games because there's an actual legitimate reason to have someone who's done nothing but craft be part of your guild, because it makes a huge difference.
Nice.
When you die, do you have any penalty like dropping gear or something like that?
No, you can drop loot. I think that there's a driven, like, based off of what you're using. Like, if you're using a bow, it might be more inclined to drop a bow, but I haven't quite put my finger on that one. But yeah, you can get loot from killing someone, and you also get a crap load of experience.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I have to ask, Grant. Other than playing New World for 25 seconds, what have you been up to? Let's say the last 2 weeks.
So I've been playing one. So yeah, WoW Classic is like my jam. That's like my favorite game ever made, and it was actually super surprising to me when TBC came out. How Classic, where it's capped based at Nax, is like dead. So I wanted to get my character like best in slot everything, and for months and months and months after TBC came out, the server wasn't able to even get a raid going for like MC, and so I randomly joined back, and people started to put a raid together, and so it's been progressing from like ZG to now we're like we almost killed the horseman, 4 horsemen.
Oh wow!
On Sunday, yeah. So it's kind of cool to like reprogress. So I've been doing that like every Sunday. Like my character's geared, so I don't have to play that much. But I've been playing that, and then I loaded up Season of Mastery, which I play with an old friend from high school. So yeah, WoW Classic's my jam. Always will be. And yeah, it has a special spot in my heart. So I've just been playing that. Like, I have been playing too StarCraft 2 with a buddy.
Oh neat.
Yeah, so I'm a Blizzard fanboy. Love all their games. Yeah, so StarCraft 2, and that's StarCraft 2 is one of those other games I love. I love StarCraft.
Nice. All right, are you gonna plan on doing the Season of Mastery Classic?
Yeah, I've been playing that, but I'm really trying to limit myself because there's just too much going on, and with like Nax, and then also have another character and everything else. Like, it really is something that I have to watch because like that game will eat your time up. Like, crazy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sleep? We don't need no sleep.
Yeah. No, it's so there's always one more thing to do. Like,
oh god, yeah.
Are you guys thinking of playing Season of Mastery at all?
On me, no.
Yeah.
Again, I know how much of a time sink it is, and I know what would happen. So I would lose my job. I would probably lose my marriage. I would. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Not worth. Yeah.
How about you, Andeline? Are you gonna try Season of Mastery?
Probably not. I mean, I'm one of those things that like I've got to have a group of the social pull in. I've got to be peer pressured into playing a new game. And that sounds kind of weird, but it's actually kind of true if I think about it. Like,
yeah.
So
I hear you.
I don't just pick up a new game. I have a bunch of friends who say, "Hey, you should get this and play with us."
Yeah. Well, one of the funny things too about I don't even like WoW Classic that's stuck, because a lot of people don't even know what I'm talking about when I talk about that server because like no one's playing it. But one of the reasons too that I feel so obligated to play is because like that raid spot now is becoming super like coveted because more and more people are joining because Season of Mastery and people didn't really realize that this server or these servers are there. So now the raid spot is very coveted, so I don't want to lose it.
So now you have to play to keep your spot, kind of thing.
Yeah, like there's a lot of people coming in that are like fully geared that like want to play, and so it went from like the most ragtag thing you could think of was like some people that were super geared to It's not quite as ragtag anymore, and your spot like you have to show up with everything, like all the consumes, all the raid buffs, or you might not get asked to join. So yeah. Anyway,
That's
peer pressure,
interesting.
I guess, is what made you think of that. It's a different type of peer pressure, but yeah, and that's one of the things that's like fun about it, because you feel like you are kind of like part of that core team. It's almost like, yeah, you got your job, you got like a raise or something. Like you don't want to lose it.
No, you earned your spot. You don't want to lose it just by not by not trying anymore.
You can't just like jump to another guild. Like,
yeah, it's not like there's some LFG that you can just sit in and wait for the next raid to pop, right?
No, not at all.
Awesome. Well, I'll be honest, I have not been playing Classic nor the TBC Classic, but I did. So I think I mentioned it last couple shows, but I had leveled my prop paladin when 915 dropped. I started. It was about level 53, so I got to max level. Didn't do any of the campaign really, so I was able to earn renown like super quick. Like every emissary quest was giving me renown,
a level.
Just a renown, right? And so like I was raking in a huge amount of renown just between that and doing dungeons and other things. So I got to like level 70, renown 79, and then I actually wasted my soul turn in, the quest we have to go get the 20 souls and turn it in for a renown. I thought I'd get 80 on it, but I hadn't progressed far enough in the campaign quest to get 80. So like, damn it. So I went and spent, I guess, this past week, like every night I was just like chopping through as much of the campaign quest to get through all that, and then get into Korthia and get through all that until finally I finished the Korthia quest line, and that gave me my 80 renown. So that's my second 80 renowned character, which was, I was really surprised how quick it was to get to 79, and then it took almost as long to get to 80. It was just trying to get through all those quests, because they have all these little like gate blocks between achievements and everything.
Yeah.
So now I have him at item level 200. And now I'm looking at learning dungeons so I can get into the Mythic Pluses and start pushing some Mythic Plus, because that's what I want to do with it. So I have him right on the cusp of doing that. Just needed to finish a couple things, and yeah. So I was actually thinking about doing it last night, and then I just didn't like the idea of trying to crush through a bunch of dungeons to learn all the mechanics, because you never know what your keystone you're going to get. So I just decided to not bother, and I'd do it for this week. Then I wouldn't have any pressure. I hate playing under pressure. I did that enough times where they're trying to push that one last thing before reset, that feel that pressure of getting something, and it's like I'm so over that. I don't want to do that. So
any PvP on your paladin?
So I have no PvP gear. I was thinking about doing that, and then it was a Battleground week, so I hopped in to try to get the 4 Battlegrounds done, and I went in and I got so crushed by obviously these partners. There's a Frost Mage and a Ellie Shaman, and I got lassoed into like a flurry of Frost Bolts and got just decimated, and I was like, yep. I really don't want to grind a whole bunch of PvP gear just so I can survive Battlegrounds. So
yeah, I know that makes sense.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, though. That's actually why, because I saw what they were gonna do. The oopsies of what was it? There was the prop paladin legendary that was just gonna be like super OP in PvP and just like one shot people. And I was like, ooh, I'm gonna level my prop, and then they fixed it in like 24 hours. And I was like, nah, I'll still do my.
I'm gonna do it anyway. Yeah, that's right.
Well, this I still have fond memories of just running. So I made this prop paladin back in TBC original, and then I used it to just chain run 5-man dungeons in Wrath of the Lich King. That's all I did with it. So I do miss that. I miss that tanking aspect of just running dungeons and and I meet some really cool people doing that. So I was going to do that.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you're gonna go full circle and do Paladin and Wrath?
Maybe. This would be about the right time that I made my Draenei Paladin and then leveled it to max level in TBC to then be ready for Wrath. So,
Wrath is like the one I never played, and obviously
Oh, yeah?
everyone loves Wrath. So
I enjoyed Wrath. I think a lot of people really enjoyed it because it fully told the story of up to Warcraft 3. It really brought in that final part of the story.
Right. That's a good point.
I think that's what a lot of people have fond memories of that, and playing with same with peer pressure, friends bringing each other in. You know, that huge community that is like 10 million players or whatever. It's crazy.
It's
awesome.
almost like Wrath was the original nostalgia.
Yeah, it was. I think people have much fonder memories of it than Classic and TBC.
Yeah, true.
My fond memories of Classic was getting extra game time because the servers kept going down, and then they were like implementing hotfixes, so we get like extra. I got like an extra week of game time that I didn't have to pay for. Anyway,
that's cool.
But wow, we're like rambling on this. Let's do the need, greed, and pass because I really want to know what you've come up with, Andelin.
Yeah.
All right.
This likely won't be a clean fight, so keep your distance, eh?
All right, let's do it.
Okay, so this week we're gonna go with something a little off topic. Now, I'll have you know, I originally put this segment together as the idea and pitched it, right?
Yeah.
The original intent was always to have it be literally anything, not just about games. So, that being said, this week with Thanksgiving coming up, at least in the US, and Thanksgiving happening not all too long ago in Canada, I thought it would be fitting to roll Need Greed Pass on Thanksgiving food. So I gotta say, Need Greed and Pass on turkey, stuffing/dressing, or gravy.
Oh, turkey, stuffing, and gravy?
Yeah.
Oh, my. Sorry, what was the last one?
Gravy.
I thought stuffing and gravy.
Sorry, stuffing/dressing. Because depending on how because some people say, oh, well, I stuff the bird, but if you don't stuff it, you just make it, it's called dressing.
Yes.
Got it.
Right.
So for the real Thanksgiving, we'll call them purists.
Well, some people, I remember there's a person I knew, they were vegetarian. So we made the dressing on the side so that they could still have dressing.
Yeah.
Because then
exactly. Then I would be dressing. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So which one would need? Which one would greet? Which one would pass between turkey, stuffing, dressing, and gravy? I think I don't know. Do you want to go for? Are you ready, Grant? Because I'm still trying to think about this one.
I'll go. It's actually easy.
Really?
It's so easy.
It's easy.
I guess, gravy. I've never been a huge gravy person, so I'm going to pass on the gravy. And then stuffing, dressing, I will greed, and the turkey I will need.
All right. Need the bird, greed the stuffing.
Yes.
See, this is what is hard for me is I like it all. I like I like the meat. I like the stuffing, the dressing.
I'm getting so hungry now.
I know, right? You want me to go?
No. I have to do this. So I'm going to need on the stuffing, greed on the gravy, and pass on the bird.
Oh wow.
Okay.
So then I must inquire, how dost thou prepare your bird?
It's really easy. I buy it, I bring it home, and I give it to my wife.
That's what I just did today.
Don't tell her you passed on the bird then.
No.
Oh no, she does a great job on it. It's just the stuffing. The stuffing's always what
It's so good.
Oh
yeah.
god, yeah. And the gravy. I mean, you saw the flavor of the turkey in the gravy. That's why I went with that. So I could eat the stuffing and the gravy all day. Oh gosh.
Yeah, feel you. Especially, do you put the gravy on the stuffing?
Oh hell yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Pretty much
like that's
I make the plate.
That's a good move.
I make the plate.
Mm-hmm.
And then I gravify like everything.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then I have a heart attack
you go.
later. I can feel my arteries congeal.
Yep. I normally watch like something like what the Lions get crushed or something, whoever it is that plays on Thanksgiving Day, and just like enjoy my little food coma or something. So yeah, I totally get it. Absolutely, that's the way to do it.
What about you though? What you seem to question my choices. What are your choices there, Andelin?
So if you asked me a couple of years ago, my answer would have been completely different. But I'm actually going to knead the bird. I'm going to green the stuffing dressing, and I'm going to pass on the gravy.
Really?
Yeah. We've been experimenting lately with some different ways of preparing the bird.
Mm-hmm.
I have to admit, I'm a believer lately in brining.
Oh yeah.
If you brine your bird,
yeah,
it's good no matter how you cook it. But last year, we brined the bird and deep fried it in peanut oil. And that was the best darn turkey I have ever had. It was so good. It was my favorite part of the meal.
Wow. That would be good.
I've been like, oh my gosh. Never would have expected, because the turkey in the past, like growing up, I was never a fan of the turkey a whole lot because my dad would not brine it. He would just kind of season it and bake it, and it was dry, and it just wasn't very like appetizing at all, even with the gravy. And I was just like, is there something like better? So
yep.
I'm gonna that's what I'm gonna go with. I'm all for the turkey this time.
I hear you. That sounds
we got
really
the
good.
Turkey today pre-brined. So
I like to make my brine. I throw in all kinds of stuff. I get real creative with it. I throw in some lemon and orange slices, and I like to be creative with it. It's delicious.
Like garlic cloves. So like,
oh yes. Keeps the vampires away.
God, I'm like so hungry now.
Well, I'm sure our listeners are also hungry. I'm sure some people right now are cursing us on their stereo as they drive to work.
Maybe they're getting ready. Maybe they're driving to their parents for Thanksgiving dinner, listening to us, and we're pre-gaming them.
Yeah,
let's turn it to a positive.
Yeah, totally. I like where you're going with that. Maybe they're going, hey, that's a great idea, and they're going to pause the podcast right now, call their parents, and say, Mom, Dad, stop what you're doing. We need to brine the turkey first.
Brine the turkey.
Yes.
But I am curious what our listeners are thinking on this. So by all means, come over to our Discord, Technically PvP channel. Let us know what you would need, greed, and pass. Love to hear everybody's thoughts. In the meantime, we're going to toss this up a little quickly, and I want to get back to the subject analysis and finish talking with Grant about Match Reno. As soon as I figure out where there's button, there it is.
I'm going to light you up, sweet cheeks.
Yeah. Let's get into this. We'll save the events in the news for later. I really want to get back into this conversation again.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, Grant. Coming back to Match Reno, though. So I think you kind of talked a little bit about how Match Reno started and everything. And what the Northern Light there, the star that you guys are following is looking after the tournament organizer in that. Do you see, I guess, where do you see Match Reno in so it's been 5 years. So where do you see it in 5 years? Where do you see Match Reno being as that guiding star for a tournament organizer?
Well, I see us more evolving with our other. I say we have like 3 customers. We have the TO,
Mhm.
then we have the publisher and the sponsor or brand.
Okay.
So I see us evolving more with the publishers and the brands. So one I can talk about, another I can't with the publishers. So we actually just launched with Wizards of the Coast
Oh wow.
about a month ago, and that
That's awesome.
I guess yeah, to be full transparency, we we wanted to go really big with our first tournament,
Mhm.
and it ended up kind of blowing up in our face a little. We launched a lot of new technology and had like a massive tournament to launch with it, and the site ended up going down.
Oh god.
So we are recovering there. We have a new handful of organizers with smaller events getting started to really prove out um, this program.
Mhm.
Now, I guess I'll take like a quick step back and just say, with Matt Reno, we launched what we call our partnership program, which
Okay.
is basically like a vetted, these vetted organizers. And so not only do we vet them, but we give them all these like kind of extra tools to help make sure they're successful. So now we're kind of doing that with publishers and saying, hey, look, um, let us help you manage and create and help sustain this program of organizers. We're going to help make sure each one is successful. Um, and we think that's basically, the best way to help create a sustainable ecosystem. Like
Mhm.
one of the ways I view it is if you want a sustainable esports ecosystem, it's pretty simple. Are your organizers able to make money and do this? And are your players able to make money and basically do it for a living? Like if you're able to tick that box, like you're going to have a snowball and it's going to grow to be crazy huge. Um, that's not really a thing right now in most esports. I dare to say almost any esport. Like I think the biggest esports are like, League of Legends, Counter Strike. Um, so yeah, we want to grow with the publisher. We're about to launch another one, actually mid December.
Cool.
One of the largest mobile publishers. And yeah, so we want to hopefully in 5 years have a stable of publishers that we're able to help them grow their partnership programs, their own partnership programs. AKA having organizers and players able to make money from playing in their esports ecosystems.
Nice.
Uh, Yeah, and then with the brands, we want to have more brands. We're helping, like you guys have been a part of, which thank you guys for your help so much. But with G Fuel and others helping them put on these big
Yep.
tournaments, help
Mhm.
involve a lot of communities. We're doing a lot more of that. That's growing, and we have something coming out too for brands to just help them just get broad reach, basically get exposed to um, tons and tons of tournaments through directly on their stream, and then pay
Nice.
the organizers too for using that. So we're really like TOs is our kind of core competency, but that snowball is kind of growing on its own at this point, which we're very thankful for. We're not really trying to monetize that. If you guys have run tournaments in Matrino, we
Yeah.
basically don't. We just started to charge our percent again. We have a 4% fee, but the truth is we're actually just recycling that fee back into our sponsorship program. So we're not really trying to make any money from it.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're trying to make all our money from publishers and brands, and that's where basically our whole team is focused on.
Gotcha.
So we want to see growth in those areas.
Hmm.
All right. So
Yeah.
so not only if any of our listeners are tournament organizers, there you go. But if any of you are also a brand holder or something else, or want to be affiliated, get a hold of Maturino.
Please.
All right. Andalyn, sorry, you're gonna ask something.
Yeah, I was just gonna say like let's what's been like a huge noteworthy event maybe that's been hosted through Match Arena, or if you have to think back about like what your favorite event has been or something that you just that kind of sticks in your memory as like, wow, that was cool. We did this or we were a huge part of this. What are some of those things that are kind of floating around in your brain?
One of the things that always I kind of think back to isn't necessarily an event. Well, I guess the first event where it was in Stark that was big was in StarCraft 2 by an organizer named Base Trade TV. And we actually had, so we were a part of this program called Techstars, which is kind of like, I call it almost like a school for startups, but they invest, which is really nice. So they'll actually invest like 100K. And we, part of this program, they have something called Demo Day. It's kind of like at the end, you have this big pitch. And then right before that, they'll actually help kind of shop you around to different VCs, like big kind of investor institutions. And so we had Paul Allen's basically VC come in, and we were doing this, our first big tournament with Base Trade and StarCraft 2. And I had my, at the time, I had my phone hooked up to our PayPal. So like every new donation, it would like ping my phone. And we were in a meeting with basically the head of that, not Paul Allen, but the head of that VC. And I was like, telling him about Match Reno. And I was like, just look at my phone. And my phone is just going like crazy, like ping, 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 like all these donations. Wow. So that was just like the stars aligned. And that was cool. The other thing, the other thing that was just kind of like, I guess eye-opening, even though it shouldn't be, was when we got our first like $500 donation. It wasn't to our like just to a tournament. It was because you have to. I think people that are familiar with Twitch, they're used to, like, that doesn't sound like anything crazy. It's like, oh yeah, Twitch alerts, people donating. But when we were launching, we had so many people just be like, why is anyone going to donate? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to them. Mm-hmm. So when we started seeing, the first donation, first $5 donation, that was a big deal. And then like, it was $20, that was a big deal. But the 500 one was kind of like, whoa, like that's crazy. Like that's, $1,000 or whatever. That was just cool to see and kind of, stuck out. And since then we've had, awesome. Yeah, I've seen, I want to say it's more than this, but at least $2,000 some people have just donated straight up to like a prize pool.
That seems insane to me. Like that's like somebody's that's somebody's full paycheck just being donated.
Yeah, and I hope that person's full paycheck. Obviously I doubt it was, but I compare esports right now to like, if you look at most sports like football, that took about 100 years to really get the infrastructure up into what it is today. Yeah. So I think, esports is almost like 10 years old in some ways. You could argue more or less.
Yeah, but I think a toddler.
Yeah, it's super early days. And I think we'll probably see it happen in probably, a quarter of the time. It's like, 25 years. So maybe another 15 years to get crazy. But I still think it's a fraction of what it will be.
Oh, yeah, it's still growing.
I mean, you don't go into any store and see someone in like, an esports jersey really. Or go into a bar and see it on TV, but you will.
Getting there. It's getting there.
Yeah. I mean, you talk to like anyone that has children at school, and them and all their friends are playing games. So it's no longer like the nerd in the basement kind of. It's everybody if you're younger.
Yeah, they're talking about it. They're playing the games. They're watching. There's some YouTube streamers or some Twitch streamers that they talk about. And if they're not watching the streams, they're watching their VODs in some sort of a playthrough. So, yeah. It's actually really funny. Big's not here because he wasn't able to make it. But I remember I was just talking to him on Sunday, and we were kind of talking about this and talking about how in our universities that, the idea of an esports club or an esports program in the university was unfathomable. Like, it wasn't even thinkable that would even be. And now there's like varsity level esport organizations being built up
and competitions.
Yeah. Like
I
never saw that coming.
The collegiate space, I think is probably one of the fastest growing places in esports, because like schools are seeing that, and it's such a big like lure or like way to get students. If you guys are on Instagram or whatever, you'll see like Full Sales ads, like just, hey, we have an esports and you can play, and we have an esports program. Like, I think a lot of it's probably marketing fluff, But it is true. Like, if that were me, that would work on me. I'd be like, I want to go to this college where I can like, play games.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or at least have that as an extracurricular that would be like so much fun,
I would root for our team. Like if my old alma mater, the Roger Williams, and they had a team, I'd be so down to get a jersey and like watch it, and just root for the team.
Exactly.
So today, just out of curiosity, I started doing some searching, and I found in Ontario, there's actually an organization, and they're running tournaments, and the prize pool was $30,000 in scholarships.
Yeah, and that's the way to do it too. Is do it through scholarship. If you're a school, then that costs you basically nothing.
Yeah.
No, that is 100% the way to do it.
Is Match Reno going to start doing scholarships?
We've talked to schools about doing that, but and we're just a small.
Holy crap! I didn't know that.
I mean, we haven't seriously talked to anyone in like a year or so, but it's just the schools, because we've worked with. I mean, we've helped do tournaments for a number of different colleges,
Cool.
But usually what it is it's like one guy who's usually in the IT section of the school, like, trying to basically bootstrap the whole thing himself, and the whole rest of the, college staff is like making fun of it. Like you guys just said, they're taking it seriously now because they almost have to, and it's just happening so quickly. But even like a year ago, that wasn't even the case for the 99% of everybody. So yeah, we want to, and we have a lot of cool ideas. So if you're in a college program, come talk to us. But we haven't been fortunate enough to work with anyone that's like taking it seriously as like a collectively trying to make it happen.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I can't help but wonder, you said 100 years ago, like football was just coming out, American football. I wonder if when they were looking at doing that at the school and the collegiate level and that, if they were being laughed at back then as much as people are being laughed at today, or were being laughed at for esports. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, you know what I think, the people stop making fun of things when there's money involved. So like, kids, like, even when you're winning a big thing with eyeballs, it's like, that's cool. But it's like, oh, hey, like, what was the guy that won the Fortnite tournament that made
Ninjas?
Not Ninja, I forget.
Like Ninja's tournament, okay.
No, it wasn't Ninja. It was like the Fortnite Cup.
Yeah, you're talking about the one that had like a $200 million prize pool or whatever, and like the 14-year-old kid won it.
Yeah, Booga.
Yeah, okay.
Booga won it. Like, you just see the conversation start to switch from like a kind of joking, oh, you like play video games really, into like, wait, he just won how much? And like, if you come back to school and you just won, even $1,500 or a couple $100 over the weekend from playing games, those are the kind of conversations that change the dynamic.
Oh, totally. Like I remember growing up and my parents telling me to get off the computer because it was rotting my brain and everything. And nowadays, like, I have my kids and I'm not sure, I'm telling them to get off the computer once in a while, but I'm definitely more. But I remember there was a young kid, he died because he had been, I think it was either CS:GO or it was Call of Duty.
Mm-hmm.
But he was playing a whole bunch and actually climbing the leaderboard. He was like top 200 NA or something like that on the leaderboards. Like he was doing really good. And his parents, he was spending so much time, his grades had dipped. And so the parents, being parents, took away his Xbox or whatever. And so he ended up running away from home and ended up perishing to the elements because it was cold outside and whatnot. But
jeez.
Yeah. But I mean, it's a sad story, but I can't imagine looking at esports and where they're at today. If a kid was doing that, I could see, or maybe not today, but I would hope in a decade, the parents would be much more understanding and realize that their child just needed some guidance into finding the balance, but not take away this thing that could actually turn into, if they're that good and realize that they're that good, could turn into an actual income and an actual career path. not just a whimsical idea. So
Yeah, parenting is tough.
yeah, it
I
is.
mean, it's
So,
it's.
so I'm a soon-to-be parent. My wife's due in January,
Oh,
and
Congratulations,
thank
man.
you, thank you. But it's one of the things that it's funny because I've thought about this a decent amount, and I really have no answer. But it's like obviously you guys are probably in the same boat. But I played so much growing up, and I was actually super divisive. But I don't know what rules I'm going to have for my kid. Like I don't know because obviously you can overdo it, and I overdid it. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'm just curious if you guys have any like what
Well,
your guys' rules are for.
I remember playing video games until 2 o'clock in the morning, and my dad, because the 5 1/4 inch floppy drive was so loud when it was reloading the game that it would wake him up, and he got all mad at me and told me to go to bed. But that was it. He just told me to go to bed, and then he went to bed because he was tired, and then I just kept playing until I was like and then it was like 3 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday morning, right? Like,
Yeah, but
okay,
that's not that bad. Like I was up
no,
till 2, 3 every night, actually playing World of Warcraft, and then would wake up, 6:30
mm-hmm.
for
Yeah,
um.
I think what I've seen is the best approach. And I don't know. I might change my mind at some point, but so right now I think that I really like Zaryu, his approach. We've had him on the show before. He's an
yeah,
incredibly good guy, really entertaining streamer,
mm-hmm.
and a great gamer. But he has something that he has, where he focuses a lot on like the mental health of gamers and just like, hey, this is a space that we share together. Let's make each other better while we're here.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, do your dailies, like drink water, go outside, like do these things every single day, like get some physical activity, like,
Yeah.
and it makes a huge difference in your mental health. And I think a lot of what like my parents tried to insinuate in me is like, don't get addicted to this to where it starts to control and it starts to affect other aspects of your life. And I mean, there was times definitely, especially during college, where like, okay, my finals definitely sucked because I was playing WoW instead of, you know, um, I can't
But
say that wasn't a learning experience, but
Zaryu went through that. Like that's where he came out of, was because he
yeah,
mentioned how he used to be like super movement orientated child. He was always out doing things, and then he got into video games, and he realized that was the thing that was missing. He felt like something was wrong, that there was something missing, and it was the fact that he wasn't moving anymore. And so
Oh
then he
yeah.
got back into the body weight movement style exercises.
yeah,
And I mean,
plyometrics, yeah,
yeah, and it's true. Like we're not meant to spend our lives sitting in a chair, right?
mm-hmm.
So
Not long. Like
no. Well,
Yeah.
how many times has a person tried to do a 24-hour stream and ended up in the hospital, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That killed me. My stepdaughter, she's 12. She's very impressionable, and so she heard about the 24-hour streams or whatnot, and so she told her stepdad, or not me, her biological father, that she was over visiting him, and she's like, I'm going to stay up for 24 hours of playing this video game. He's like, yeah, okay, because he knew, right? Her mom's pissed, but he's like, okay, well, I'm going to go to bed. And yeah, he found her like in the morning, passed out on the couch with the phone on the ground because she couldn't do it. But the fact she was even going to try, she didn't, because she couldn't conceptualize what that actually meant and what that did to the body. But
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, a lot of times you haven't taken your body to that kind of extent or to that type of like straits, so it's something new for a lot of people, and it's like, okay, this is not I need sustenance, I need to move, I need to get out, I need to like do something more than just be a vegetable in terms of what my body is, like my base metabolic rate has to be something more than than just sitting here. So
well, I
but
do
yeah,
like the idea of having those, quote daily quests, because then it's like it's almost like, hey, when you do your homework, you can play as much as you want as long as it's done. But it's like, hey, do your homework, but also do your like physical requirements, or whatever else you want as a daily quest, and then you can go crazy if you have enough time.
Right. Exactly.
That makes sense to me.
And for me, as a growing up, it was always like, okay, yeah, but if I do that stuff, I'm gonna have way less time. So I'm just
Totally.
Yeah. It's gonna take time away from gaming. Well, yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
You just half-ass it as much as you humanly can, just to take it off.
Exactly. But I mean, there's a lot of value in it, and I think, especially like as I've gotten older, I've realized now that it's like I just feel better. I'm just happier. Like my whole mental outlook on life and attitude is just so much more positive and just feels so much more like full of life when I get outside, drink water. I don't just sit at the computer. Like I realize that like, oh yeah, I have a life, as opposed to like just like oh yeah, crap, I have to I gotta do Torghast again. Like and that's and like that's the only thing I can think about. Like I can't think about anything else I have to do or anything else that might be going on that, oh yeah, I probably should do this, or So
yeah. So thinking about things to do and whatnot, and we kind of talked about this. So I'll pull this back to the Reno talk. So your site does way more than just World of Warcraft, and we know that. I mean, you've already kind of talked about that, just in like some of the different sponsors and some of the different stuff you guys have done. I'm kind of wondering from your experience, what are the differences, I guess, between the other tournaments and what WoW Esports or World of Warcraft tournaments are like? What's your take on that? How does WoW Esports maybe stand out different?
I guess maybe a couple different thoughts are, one, I think it is kind of like traditional sports where you'll have, the tennis group is different than the football group or the golf group, so you do have these different communities that, like the FGC. I wasn't even aware that was a thing before we started Match Reno, which is called, the fighting game community.
Oh yeah.
So there's that kind of dynamic at play, where there's just different communities. So it's important to note that. And I mean, I guess I'll just be honest. I think WoW has been in a pretty bad state in terms of, having a lot of opportunities for players. And I'm frankly kind of new to it too, so I can't really speak too much on WoW specifically, but something that, like kind of anecdotally, I was at a BlizzCon, I think the last one that they had, and went out and like, at BlizzCon, kind of after hours, all the different kind of communities go to different locations, like the StarCraft 2. And I was hanging out with some of the players from WoW, and like even the idea of it becoming, because they were all talking about, it was like I think it was the last day, but talking about going home and going back to their real-time jobs, like having this as an actual profession was not even in the stratosphere. Like,
no.
So that's kind of how I would measure like a success of any, like, kind of keep harping on it, but the success of an esports. So like, it's just nowhere even close to having it be where I think everyone would want it to be, where it's like, imagine you can get really good, compete, and like, that's your job. Like, that's the dream. So it has a long way to go. But it has a lot going for it, similar to other communities, but like, everyone's so passionate. And probably what you have with WoW that a lot of other communities don't, where it really can easily be, I think, for better, like a lifestyle, WoW, and there's just so much to do, and you have this guild and these social dynamics. So it has that, like, the fan base can be incredibly passionate, but it's just really tough to bootstrap an ecosystem. And I think, WoW suffers from that, just like almost every other community, but WoW suffers from that, a lot.
There's a lot of external factors as well there too that are really playing a negative role as of late.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is, and I want to be careful here, but with publishers too, it is absolutely mind-boggling how often they will shoot themselves in the foot. Obviously, I think what's happened recently, no one wanted any of these things to happen, but like Nintendo stopping Smash at an Evo, if you guys are like aware of that.
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
It's
Sorry.
not a new story, but it's basically, Evo is the Super Bowl of the FGC, and Super Smash Bros. Has been one of the staple games.
Yeah.
Nintendo has since flipped their stance on it, but there was a time where Nintendo wouldn't allow Smash to even be played at Evo. Now you might ask yourself, like, why would that be the case? And it took us a while,
Right.
but these publishers are typically so like they want to do everything themselves. They don't really like parties doing anything. Like they will be hands on. They'll recreate their whole 3D engine and everything because they want to just own it top to bottom. And in esports, I feel like they feel like it's something that's like kind of out of the coming out of their fingers or their clutch. But they shouldn't feel like that. This is something that it's actually helping promote and market their game for free. I add, not even that, but they should be able to monetize it too. If you got like with the international helping sell DLC. So publishers are to blame in a lot of ways for the gaming titles not being as successful as they can be because they just get in the way. They'll also be hyper competitive too which they should have their own Super Bowl of sorts. But then if you look at something like the Overwatch, then they won't allow all these other third party organizers to run their events, and they'll put in these crazy strict guidelines. So long story short, publishers have shot themselves and their communities in the foot more than they've helped, broadly speaking.
Yeah.
And
absolutely
probably suffers from that a little bit too.
Yeah, and I've noticed that some publishers, you mentioned most of them, and you're right, want to have full control and full, full rights in terms of, like no one else, like we own the IP, like, and this is all like, you'd have to get approval from us to be able to run any kind of tournament for our IP. But Blizzard is one of those companies that's a lot like that. But there's a lot of others that aren't. I'm thinking of like High Res, for instance, who is like really down for like
give credit for High Res. They understand esports probably better than most.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so I think that makes a big difference too. And frankly, Blizzard like used to do a really good job with their esports, but I feel like they've kind of grown complacent lately. But there's been a lot of things I think that have just kind of maybe been a huge track for Blizzard and whatnot. But yeah, because it is disappointing. But I think that the community, if they allowed it to, and by community I mean like an actual like third party or community of third parties, as opposed to just like random streamers from Twitch, that community would actually provide a huge surge of popularity and a huge surge content that would really bail out companies like Blizzard from these situations. Like you mentioned, it promotes their game in a huge manner.
Well, we see opportunity there. We're trying to direct, when we are our current, brands to WoW. We think it's totally underserved. And it's not just the amount of eyeballs too, but it's the deep engagement you get. Because when you do have that kind of barren content and you're able to help produce something, like the community is super appreciative. And the brands get a benefit from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oops, I'm still muted.
So hopefully we're all about it. We love WoW and are all about, getting a ROI for the brand.
Yeah, exactly. And in a lot of ways, I see Matcherino as being the catalyst in and a lot of the possibilities here, especially, and I'm sure it also extends to other IPs other than those that are owned by Blizzard. But in a lot of ways, what you guys are doing, I think, is a catalyst for these types of things to be able to happen, and sets the stage for this kind of stuff to happen. And a lot of these publishers, I think, would really rethink their approach if they just took that step to like say, okay, we're not going to clutch so hard onto our us being the only ones who can touch the esports side of our IP.
Like money
Mhm.
talks, and being
Yep.
able to do some of these pilot programs with them, we're really excited to see how that pans out, because
Yeah.
it's not just, hey, let's be philanthropic here. Like,
Yeah.
you can like look at how much game publishers realize how valuable, in-game content is, and how willing fans
Oh
are to
yeah.
buy it. I think pairing that with esports, letting fans buy it to support their locals or different community events where the publisher can get a cut, it's a win-win for everybody. It just kind of takes loosening your grip on what your current model is a little, and
Yeah.
experimenting with esports.
So I think this begs the question, and actually that's the incorrect use of that phrase. But I think what this implies, I should say, is, have you had any situations, or are you pursuing any situations where the publisher is your TO?
Oh.
Um, yes, but here's the thing to like an example that pops up is like Battle Right. If you guys ever heard of that game, it's
Mhm.
actually like it's really it's more of an indie one, but if you like WoW Arena, it's like MOBA meets WoW Arena. But at least in that case, it was an official Battle Right tournament, but the publisher was very like pretty uninvolved in that. The a lot of times the publisher will hire like one person or maybe a team to just manage the esports, and they're still um
Yeah.
so like it had a big prize pool. I don't remember what it was. Maybe it was like 10K or 20K. But and we were begging the whole time, and even our point of contact was begging, the CEO to let us sell in-game items to support it. But we weren't able to do it. So we haven't done any first party. We have done with StarCraft 2. Um, we worked with Tim Morton, who was the director. He's since left and starting his own publishing studio. Excited to see what comes out there. But we were helping them sell DLC. So I believe we were the first third party to ever help sell DLC, at least for StarCraft 2. And it went really well. Like, people bought tens of thousands of dollars for it. For like, it was a big tournament, but like it wasn't crazy big.
Yeah.
And it's just been tough to get buy off. We weren't even paying Blizzard because the reality was they just couldn't even, like, Tim Morton, the director, basically helped us do this like behind the scenes, because Activision cannot get something like that moved through legal, because when you start involving like, hey, we're going to pay you money, it's like, wait, what's going on here?
Yeah.
Like, people just are not able to actually do something with a publisher that needs to be done the right way requires
Mhm.
buy off. Even with our first publisher launches, Wizards of the Coast, there's a lot of things that we're not able to do yet because they're not comfortable enough with things that might seem like doesn't make sense. But you have to realize that publishers are kind
Yeah.
of structured a lot differently than what needs to happen to get these things
Right.
done.
And some things could not be of good publicity, and they're very hypersensitive.
Totally, like, and
Yeah.
like, even just donating to a prize pool, that to a
Yeah.
publisher is like, well, is it gambling? Like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right. Yeah, and then you run into other stuff like, okay, well, this makes it now illegal in like a state like Arizona, or used to
exactly. And these
be.
are real problems. Like, I'm not saying that this
Yeah.
is like something that you should just not care about. These are real things, but
Mhm.
I think this is just these are things that as more and more um, publishers try things out, we're obviously here to help them try it out. They'll be more willing to try different models. But one of the things too that always kind of has surprised me, I think it comes back to maybe just wanting to do everything themselves. But if you look at like the international with Dota 2, you'd think all these different publishers would just try to copy it because hey, it like works. But you haven't seen that, so yeah, it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I feel like it might be easier with a small indie than a big organization, but I understand. Just because, like you said, once you start getting those bigger organizations with all the layers of executives and all the legalities and worried about perception and everything, it's definitely harder. And like you said, like I think a number of the anti-gambling laws that are out there never even had esports in mind, and the perception from the judicial arm and how they foresee and how they see esports and whatnot and how they categorize it, they rather than fixing the law, they're trying to figure out how to fit this into what's already established as a law and these policies, and it's actually an issue. Like there's some stuff that think like just because, a case in point, like World of Warcraft. So because World of Warcraft has some randomization into it, just in like how some of the abilities fire off, and some RNG there, they consider that gambling because of that RNG. That as if like by pushing a button, that small amount of RNG determines whether or not you win or lose is equivalent to a lottery.
Yeah, because they both determine how much dopamine you're going to release or something. Like,
No, it has nothing to do with dopamine. It's just the fact that a random number generator came up with a number to determine whether you won or lost. But like,
and the thing is like there's always something, right? So it's just, and when it involves like a big legal team, those just gets too bogged down. But it's either gambling related or I think even I might be wrong about this, but organizers can't make money from events. They're just different things that make it tough to get the flywheel in motion, I guess. But we are not stopping, and we are. We kind of just gotten started with official programs with publishers, so we'll have two soon, and hopefully more after that. But we're also kind of just focused on making sure that the ones we do have become massively successful before we try to like do too much.
I like it. Speaking of different publishers and that, recently you guys have been working really hard in helping charitable organizations build some funds in that. How's that been going, and are we going to see more of that?
I hope we see a lot more. It's one of those things that it's not even something that we just do it because hey, we get all feel good and we get to actually raise money for charity, but it's super helpful. A couple things is, one, it's easier to get streamers involved if there's a charity component, because if it's not, or players, even if it's not a huge prize pool, it's like, well, hey, it's for charity. So it's super helpful. I mean, yeah, we talked to the Red Cross, maybe it was like 8 months ago or so, and we did the first tournament with them, and it felt a little weird, to be honest, at the beginning, because they're like, hey, because they'll pay us, and they pay a lot of other people to help like do things to create, cause awareness and drive donations. But we're like, okay, let's try it. Like, we're all about let's make it work out. So they paid us, and we helped get involved in a tournament, and then we ended up raising a lot more money than they paid us. And so now basically I want to sponsor so it's like such a win-win. We want to get more charities involved. We're still trying to scale that with the amount of brands that we have. And frankly, the Red Cross just wants to sponsor everything. So we've loved
awesome though.
Yeah, they've been such great partners. We absolutely love working with them.
I kind of get a kick out of the fact that the Red Cross, that they're wanting to sponsor a bunch of video games where people are essentially hurt to win when they go out and help people that are hurt. It's kind of funny. I find that the irony there is funny to me.
It is a little ironic, but I mean, the proof is in the pudding. Like, it's crazy. Look at how charitable gamers are. Like,
Yeah.
it's so amazing.
Yeah,
And charities are noticing that too. So
Yeah.
absolutely.
Who knew that a bunch of internet trolls and nerds would be so charitable? Memers.
seriously though, I mean, so much good has been done through gamers are. I mean, gamers are awesome. And yeah, tying that to charity, we're all about it. We're the more we can do, the better. We just raised. Well, it was last weekend. We actually did a StarCraft 2 tournament and raise about it's going to be more than that once we do our sponsor quest, but over $3,000 for the Red Cross in that one tournament. So
Nice.
that was pretty cool last
That's
weekend.
awesome. That's really awesome. All right.
Yeah.
Andelin, I'm kind of running out of questions.
Yeah, I think we jump into it. So, Grant, one of the things that's key to our show here, and if you've listened to anything, then you already know what I'm about to say. But one of the signature questions we always ask at the end is, if you had an infinite budget, and you had everything at your fingertips, and you were given the chance to change one thing, either about Matcherino or what you've got going on here, or how Matcherino's esports are conducted, you can change anything that you want. What is the one thing that you would change?
So you're asking like Matcherino specific, like what I would change?
Yeah. Or it could be anything around surrounding how Matcherino operates.
I don't know. I mean, we've got a great team. Our platform's getting there. Maybe before I would have waved a magic wand to get some functionality out. If I could wave a magic wand, it would really be to just get the opportunity to work with more brands or publishers to show them the success we can help drive. Like, that would really be it.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. That's awesome.
That would be it.
Okay.
Hopefully not too boring of a response.
All right.
No, I like it. I think it's right in line with what we talked about, and seeing how just how you guys can really be like maximally impactful in the space. And I like the idea of just saying, I'm going to reiterate it, just you guys being a huge catalyst in making these things happen.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, we definitely don't deserve all the credit. Like, we're basically just providing buttons to click, but the communities are the ones that are doing all these amazing things, and the TOs too. Like, but it's super fun, and we want to do a lot more. So, no, thank you guys, and I can't wait for the next WoW tournament too, because I love your guys' help again.
Me too.
So yeah, much appreciated.
Yeah, sure.
All
Garrison?
right.
I guess we can open it up to just esports with Turk.
Just esports. Shoot, I'm kind of tossed up between two of them. But I'm just gonna go back to, I think, kind of my bread and butter. The one that was first in my head is I just wish there was, on the RBG side, I feel like that objective based esport is much more easily acceptable content to the arena. Acceptable, is that the right way? I don't know. More digestible, I guess. I feel it's like a missed opportunity. It's the diamond of the rough of WoW esports. And so I look forward to, if I could wave a magic wand, I would have with proper brand sponsorship, like WoW Esports actually sponsoring amongst some other, get some real prize pools, so that once it's divided amongst 10 players, it's not chump change, and actually get some solid tournament structure going on for RBGs to really bring that more to the forefront, and not have 3v3 arena be the golden child of WoW Esports.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That's my wish. How about you,
Nice.
Andolin?
Nice. So I'm I think the one thing I would change is I'd love to see esports expand, not necessarily even from like collegiate, but also to like regional. So for instance, let's say you lived in like um let's say you lived in like Kansas City. I'd love to see like Kansas City have a regional like Overwatch team or something like that.
Okay.
I just think it'd be so cool um if
Have like
like
East versus
actual
West versus Midwest.
yeah,
Separate out like how
exactly.
you have
And
with
yeah, or like Calgary's got a team and Ottawa's got a team or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's so cool because like you see the same type of thing happening right now with Major League Soccer that's going on here in the U.S. specifically, at least specifically in my area. Atlanta's picked up a team. Nashville's picked up a team. Knoxville's trying to pick up a team. Like, there's so many. Like, everyone's trying to get like their own little city, trying to get their MLS team put together, and they're like, "Oh yeah, let's throw some money towards this, and let's build a little stadium, and maybe we can like get on the schedule with this so and so." I think it'd be really cool to see that grow and see that expand as like Chicago put an Overwatch team together, and like next thing Indianapolis is joining the team. It'd be so cool. I would love it.
I'm just gonna throw it out here, but I feel like some of that is because of how especially the United States has done in some of the Olympics for soccer or for football. That now that regional level is more thought of and acceptable. Plus, in a lot of cities, there soccer has been a mainstay in the teenage years. That is kind of like that. Those two kind of met, and that's what created that. That's what started that. So I'm wondering if, like, I just kind of just switch gears slightly. If esports, if there was an esport that actually ended up on the Olympic stage in, let's say, the next decade, how do you think that would impact at the regional level that you're thinking of? Do you think that would be the catalyst? Do you think it would have to be the Olympic to then catalyze at the regional and create that? Or do you think what's happening already
it's like a chicken or egg kind of
it?
conversation. Yeah, I think that it would have to be like the egg. I guess the original the first. I see it following as a regional type of thing that begets like an Olympic type of appearance.
So
as opposed to
start from the grassroots
opposite.
and move up. Okay.
Yeah, that's I would think that it would be more likely that direction, but hey, who knows?
Yeah. I think you're right. I think it'd be more of the grassroots, and then once it's Olympicized, then like popular culture at the higher level of people who never thought of it.
Yeah, because oftentimes it's not like the Olympics all of a sudden endorses something that's like nothing, and then it becomes insanely popular. The Olympics doesn't endorse it unless it already is insanely popular.
Well, and that's why it's already being talked about. So
yeah.
All right. Well, on that, let's talk about the upcoming WoW PvP events and run through our outros here so that Grant can get going, because he looks like he's trying to fade, buddy.
My wife just messaged me dinner's ready, so maybe that was No, but I'm excited to stay here, so don't worry.
Hopefully your dinner's not cold by the time we're done. All right,
yeah,
here you go.
Well, dinner's ready for him. I'm fading, so we'll do it for him.
Oh, you're doing it for you. All right, here we go.
Get in there and fight! Stop hiding!
All right, WoW PvP events. Oh my gosh. So
Yes.
Dalaran Gaming, as always, he's our mainstay. Still doing his 5v5 1v1s. Other events, GCD TV. They're now that the official Blizzard Esports has petered out, taken a break. GCD is starting up some of their community stuff, so they're going to host a Burning Crusade Classic 5v5 arena tournament on the 4th and the 5th of December. And this is going to be on live servers too. So I'm pretty excited about this. I don't know. what do you think, Andelin? Are you excited to see some old 5v5 arena?
Yeah. I think it'll be a little it'll be a little bit more chaotic than people remember it being.
Thank you.
I think people kind of have somewhat of an idealized memory of 5v5, and a lot of people who played it kind of and who are a little bit more honest kind of have a more realistic and a more like, yeah, it was, it was really cool and it's really fun, but I think to the general viewer, it's it's hard to follow.
Well, yeah.
So
I think once you add in more players, you're adding in more abilities, there's more stuff to track. It becomes harder
absolutely.
to follow. So
Yeah.
I'm personally pretty excited about it. I think the being on live servers is somewhat of interesting, because then there's going to be dependent on whether somebody's had the luck of the getting that one piece of RNG. So I think on that they also did a poll asking what people thought about some of the items. So like the engineering items and whatnot, and
Right.
see what people thought about those being allowed or not. So
Yeah.
interesting.
See what they come up with on the.
Yeah.
That's a good rule. That's a good rule of thumb to kind of like ask the player base, like, hey, should we allow this? What do you think?
Well,
Just kind of making an executive decision.
Well, and that, people were asking in their channel, so that's where they're like, well,
Rightfully so, yeah.
So it's like,
There's
hey,
been,
viewers, what do you want to see?
Yeah, because there's been instances with that kind of stuff in like Savix tournaments, stuff like that, and other previously done stuff. But hey, it's always good to see like these types of community things being done in the season. So,
well, if anybody's listening and they want to participate, you head over to the GCD TV Twitter. You'll find I have a link for the show notes, or link in the show notes for that. You can go there, find the sign up pages. I think it's over on gamebattles.com. I think is where they're hosting
they're using a different platform every single time. Yeah.
Oh no, it's on Battlefy. Sorry.
Yeah,
okay. Never mind. They're going back to the roots. Love it.
Mistake. Yeah.
Here we go.
So doing that, and then Oasis community. We talked about this a little bit before, but they got their Keystone Builders tournament on the 10th to the 12th of December. So this is a fun Mythic Plus. Start with a low key, and then it's basically the teams have to just keep chain running the keys to see where the keys end up, see who ends up with the highest key. So I think there's again the link in the show notes. This will be the second one they've done. So we'll see if they make any changes to it or whatnot. And Radar.io is going to be helping them out with it as well. So they got some other stuff planned with it on top of it. Really good turnout in the casters and whatnot. They have, I think, 7 different casters. So
good.
Yeah. So
Very good.
Have a good amount of casters. Have a rotating desk over the weekend. So highly recommend.
Yeah.
If you're interested, go sign up. If you just want to watch, make sure you have the date saved and have the Twitch alerts enabled so you can catch that when it shows up. Grant, are you excited about these two? Is there anything there that you're excited about? Or
I 5v5, I've never got the chance to play, but it always seems like it'd be so much fun. But it's just kind of like a hassle or not a hassle, but tough to get a full other comp. But it's I love watching the WoW highlights where he'll have 4 mages and a shaman bloodlust or something. Just seeing all the funny things people will do to just get
that's true.
Super gimmicky.
That's a really good point.
I think I've talked about it before, but I still remember me and some guildmates, we decided we were going to go in and try it. And we ended up against 5 paladins. And
how'd that go?
It was horrible. It was like 30 minutes later and we quit.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, because we sucked. And so we would kill one. And then we'd start focusing on the next one. And then one would turn around and res the one they killed.
Oh, that's right.
Nice.
So it was like a never-ending. It was horrible. It was horrible.
Yeah, you had to like really get some timing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. It was just. Oh my god, it was so bad.
Yeah.
And I think
I
I
remember.
want to say most of
It
them were
reminds
early.
me of Cat. Oh yeah, rough. It reminds me of Cataclysm. It's like I would judge, and I was correct almost every time, whether or not who was gonna win the battleground based off of who had more rogues.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah,
And it was like, oh, they've got 6 rogues, we've got 5, they win.
Yeah. Yeah, that one rogue's gonna be able to outrun everybody. Yeah, I remember. I remember.
Do you guys know like what comp is gonna probably win?
Oh, in the 5v5? Oh.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
I don't know if there's like a meta.
I'm sure Venruki could give you like a really good like
Yeah.
probably kind of analysis. I cannot. But like you mentioned, I am interested to see maybe with what some people might come up with.
Mhm.
I really hope we see a lot of creativity rather than just like kind of like meta farming.
I suspect that we'll probably see there'll be a bunch of RMP variants, which I think will probably end up towards the end.
Mhm.
I would not be surprised if we saw an MLD variant. MLD.
Nope.
MLD with a Shadow Priest. Can I do like an MLD / Shadow Play? See
Or
see
with a
what.
lock. Yeah.
Yeah. So, we'll see what happens.
I'm excited
Yeah.
to watch that.
Yeah, me too. I'm really curious what the different teams are going to end up. I haven't even seen what they are. So actually, shoot, hold on. Now, sorry, live radio moment here. I'm actually going to look over and see how many teams are signed up.
Yeah, and who's
I
kind of
haven't
putting
been
teams
looking.
together.
Oh, so this is NA and EU. So there's two different
Okay,
tournaments at the same time. So there's 6 teams on the NA side and 3 teams on the EU side currently signed up.
Okay.
Those
Nice.
are full teams.
Nice.
Yeah. And I have no idea who any of these people are.
Okay. Well,
Yeah. Whatever. Hey. So one last, of course, there's always an official Blizzard tournament going on, apparently. Or so it seems. This one is the Great Push number 2. So again, signups are going on right now. I just saw on the official Discord that they are putting out. I think yesterday was the first authorization for people to get onto the tournament realm to start doing their stuff there. But signups are going straight through to the end of the month, the 29th. So if you're interested, sign up now. Proving Grounds are actually going to happen between the 3rd and the 6th of December, and then between the 10th and the 12th is going to be the actual stream games, and all this is being coordinated through Game Battles, the Major League Gaming Game Battle site. So, highly recommend. They do have the free agent, so if you sign up as a free agent, that doesn't give you TR access, but that does let people know that you're available. So if they need you to fill out the roster, then they'll pick you up. So anyway, so on that, I'm actually really excited. I like the Great Push. It's always really interesting to see how the teams strategize their key pushes and just trying to get to that. And you get some crazy games, like we're talking like almost 30 mythics and stuff like that. Like it's pretty crazy up there what they do. So anyway, again, if anybody knows of any other esports, any other tournaments going on out there, let us know, and we'll shout them out. We'll try to help raise awareness. So, on that, let's do the news, and then I don't know what we're gonna do after that. We'll do something, but here's the news.
All right. Who ordered up an extra large can of whoop ass?
That's probably one of the worst transitions ever, but that's okay. Okay. So the Method Mayhem, they did an EU invitational rated battleground tournament back on the 13th and the 14th of November. And big shout out to Need Hada Talk Me That team won with a solid 3-0 in the finals. And if I remember correctly, it was a really neat tournament. So they did a 2-day tournament. The first day was a round robin to determine top 4 and seeding. And they did it with random. They had a random map generator. It was like a spin wheel. And so every time it would pick the map, and then they go into the map, and it was a single elimination, best 2 out of 3, I think. Yeah, if I remember. And then day 2 was double elimination of the top 4, and I think they were still doing random map. Anyway, it was a pretty good show. I highly recommend if anybody wants to go check it out. It's over on the VODs are over on the Method Twitch channel, and yeah, it was a pretty fun time. But like I said, I think they need to talk to me. I think they got knocked down into the lower bracket and then crawled their way through the lower bracket to win the final tournament. So, kind of a great redemption story there. You know, battling through the lower to come back up into the uppers. Next one is the 9.2 data mining news. So I know Twitter has been a light, a bunch of news coming out, of all the stuff coming out of 9.2. The big ones, and this was actually announced on the actual World of Warcraft website as news. They're dropping 2 new arena maps in 9.2. One is the Maldraxxus Coliseum. So
makes sense.
Andalin, remember when we were talking to Chris Kaliki?
Yeah.
And he asked us what kind of maps he would think that we should have had, and I said,
okay,
the Coliseum and Maldraxxus.
Oh,
nice.
Just say
you heard it here first.
After Chris had left, and I just pulled the most obvious. But hey,
yeah,
I was right. Yes. So yeah,
Yep.
So they're gonna do the Maldraxxus Coliseum in the Theater of Pain. So that's gonna be pretty cool. So it's an island with a moat of green slime around it. Has 3 pillars in on the sides of a pentagon. So it should be interesting. It should be pretty good. And then the other one is the Enigma Arena. So this one's going to be in the new zone that they're creating over in Zareth Mortis. And this one's interesting. Apparently there's a switch in the middle, and depending on how you activate the switch, you can create pillars in the map. So otherwise it's a flat zone. It's just like, so it's a Wizard Cleave dream map is really what this is. Some people are a little concerned about the lack of pillars for loss, and that whoever controls the center controls the pillars. So there's some concerns there. But I also have noticed that a bunch of those concerns are from the melee players that have been absolutely wrecking the ladder for the last 2 seasons. So I'm not crying any tears on that. I'm actually really curious to see how this map turns out.
Yeah, it could be an awkward precedent, though. I mean, it's just like, are we gonna? No one wants to play an arena season with maps that are gonna favor certain comps. Well, let me back that up, because that's not what I'm trying to say. That's currently what the situation is. No one wants to play in a situation where you've got a heavily distribution, or the larger distribution of maps that favor certain maps are going to swing from season to season. Like, people who are actually playing arena just want to play, like they want the competition. They want the difference on who's going to win to be based around the decisions that they make. Not like, oh wow, we queued into this map, and so we're just it's going to be almost impossible to beat this combo.
They want to win or lose dependent on their skill and ability to against the comp and the players
Right.
behind those other players, not based on the map
Right.
that they end up sitting on.
Right.
Yeah.
The map should be a an intriguing lore centric type of just environment that this competition is taking place in. More so a framing rather than something that's playing a large impact on the actual outcome of the arena match, you know?
Yeah. Like I said, I think we'll have to see how it turns out on the PTR, how it plays out. Like I said, these aren't implemented yet. They're
Right.
just they're. I mean, heck, these were only announced. The PTR hasn't even been launched yet. So
Yeah.
I think we'll see how it plays out. I think, like anything, there's how people interpret a graphic and some description, and then there's how it actually plays. So keep an open mind. Keep an open mind.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll see.
Definitely.
Like I said, though, most of the complaining seem to be coming from some of these hardcore melee players that are, just lovingly wrecking other players and earning basically really easy rating, and now they're facing some obstacles because of a map. I'm not going to shed a tear there. Just saying.
You play the smallest of violence. I get it.
Exactly. Other small violins. So there's some new trinkets. Now this one's kind of interesting. So in the data mining, 3 trinkets were added, which was kind of hard to understand. So there's one which is the Devouring Malediction, which is going to drain absorption from nearby enemies over 3 seconds, and then unleash them as a cone in front of you as healing absorption. Again, so that's on a 3-second channel cast.
Wow, it's a lot going on there.
Yeah, I'm not sure. So absorb others. Draining absorbs and then turning into a healing absorption. So okay, interesting. So I guess draining the malediction debuff off of people and then turning into a healing absorption in front of you. So I guess I don't know. That's just weird.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
If I understand what that's saying, again, I'm just reading what it's like. I don't know.
Exactly, like tooltips and whatnot.
Exactly. The next one is activate the defenses, absorbing 50% of all damage taken. So basically, a really big wall.
Yep.
Persisting for 60 seconds, up to whatever some value. And the other one, it says cosmic damage is fully absorbed, instant 2-minute cooldown. So instant cast, last 2-minute cooldown, standard trinket things. This whole cosmic damage is fully absorbed. It makes me wonder what cosmic damage is. So otherwise, it's a 50% tank trinket as a gladiator trinket. So interesting. I wonder if this is one of the kind of the givvies for just like how bursty the meta's been in these last. If that's their solution, is to give something to help reduce burst. Meh. And the last one is the resonator. So throw the cosmic resonator, which explodes after 4 seconds, dealing some amount of cosmic damage, split between all nearby enemies. Damage is increased for each enemy struck, up to 5 enemies. 30-yard range, instant 3-minute cooldown. So this throws a ball, which then explodes, dealing cosmic damage. Okay, so that's what the tank trinket's for, is to absorb that, I guess. So now you have somebody, and the tank trinket, since it's on a 2-minute cooldown, you always have it available for this resonator cooldown. So somebody's going to always have to have that trinket to negate the other trinket and be the ones to absorb, maybe?
Yeah. I
don't
guess.
Know.
Maybe what will probably end up happening is one will suck and the other one will be actually good. And so everyone will use one and no one will use any of the others.
Which means everybody's going to grab the tank trinket, the 50%
or something
wall.
like, yeah.
and nobody's going to grab the Malediction decimating one, and nobody's going to grab the cosmic damage one. We'll see. I don't know. Like I said, none of these actually have real values on them. They're all just a bunch of placeholders of like zeros in that. So again, once the PTR hits, we'll get a better feel for that.
Right.
I'm talking 4 seconds sounds like a long time to go off.
Yeah,
with
that's
the resonator.
Yeah.
Well, and actually, that's a good point. Can you imagine getting stunned and then the resonator being dropped, and so you have a choice, just like trinket or eat it?
Yeah, that's what you stun before that.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, again, I highly doubt any of these are going to merit a cooldown.
We'll
just
see.
Based off of what I've seen Blizzard use in the past. But let's just say they're insanely good.
Mm-hmm.
You can. There's plenty of healing cooldowns that can be used to trade for these types of things, like barrier from a disc priest or something like that. Is definitely a huge trade for a lot of this stuff. With these like trinket type of level cooldowns.
Good point. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, next one. So they're changing the trinket bonus. So instead of getting plus 40% to the damage and healing effectiveness of versatility, it's now going to be a primary stat is increased by 175 and a stamina increased by 350 when in PvP. So that's interesting. So the question there, a lot of the conversation has been around what's that going to do for stat weighting. So right now, versatility has always been the primary stat to worry about. The question is whether this is still going to be if that's still going to be happening, because the plus 40% to damage and healing effectiveness, made up for the diminishing return when you had greater than 30% or higher stats, right? Because once you get 30% or higher, you start getting diminishing returns on how many stats it takes to get another percent.
Right.
So now if that goes away, what is this going to do for stat weighting? Is everything going to switch from versatility plus as the main stat plus whatever to now being your main stat? And then is PvP gear really going to be the best gear? Because the thing of PvP gear always had a main.
It's more main stat.
Well, it has more versatility. If you want main stat, you might have to start going PvP or PvE to get higher stat weighting.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It depends on how it DRs and how much.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Exactly. So I'm sure some let the simi community figure that one out. But I just want to point out that's the conversation.
Yep. People will run their numbers and their testing and their that kind of stuff to be able to figure out, hey, I do more damage with main stat or not. So.
Yeah, I mean, versatility may still turn out to be king. It all depends on where the diminishing returns hit in and where the soft caps end up lying once the sim is all done.
Yes.
Tier set bonuses. So this is another big thing. 9.2 is bringing back tier sets and the 2 and 4 piece bonuses. I forgot to put this in. So Starting Zone had an interview with Morgan Day. So he's pointing out, so the tier sets are going to be 5-piece sets, but you only need 4 pieces to get the 4-piece bonus. Some of these are really OP looking. Some of them are not as a concern. But Morgan Day did say over on the Starting Zone podcast that the intent is for the bonuses to work anywhere. So I don't know if they're going to change that, but right now, from what he was saying, and knowing that he plays PvP from when he was on the podcast here, I'm thinking he means PvP, PvE, outside of the world, absolutely. Everywhere.
Intent, right? Yeah.
So the conversation was talking more about the shards of domination and how they're only working in the dungeon, but from the sounds of it, he clearly said that the intent is that these bonuses are going to work everywhere. So So again, conversation wise, a lot of people are looking at these bonuses in Solitude and saying, wow, like some of these are really, really, really good. I think from my point of view, yes, some of them look really good, but if they're really low on versatility, are they going to be PvP viable? Because I mean, if you have less than 20% versatility, you're made of paper mache. Like you're just gonna get
exactly.
smoked.
Yep.
So I don't know. I think again a bit more once the PTR is up and we get to a better feel of what these are and what actually is part of them, then we'll have a better idea.
Yep. In the soft caps, like you mentioned. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. Here's one. So solo queue. Do you see this one, Andelin? Grant?
No, I did not.
No. Okay.
I was reading during this. I'm curious to. I didn't get through the whole thing, but I know solo queue's been like a point of contention for a long time.
Yeah. So about 3,000 people pinged our friend Stoops. He actually did a video on it based on this blog. So they announced it, and then they did a blog post on it as well, talking about what this is. So the idea is instead, so they're implementing solo queue as a brawl. You sign up on, and the system will then pair you in a pool of 6 players, right? 4 DPS and 2 heals. And then it will randomize you into a team of 3. And that section, those 6 players are then going to have to play essentially, I guess, 6 games. And each game, you're going to then be randomized with other people inside that pool of 6. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That sounds cool.
Yeah. So you kind of get it. So you're paired up with a new player, you're going to be paired up with a new player or 2 every time, but it's going to be the same 2 other the same players within that pool of 6 for that whole cycle. And then the winner is going to be determined after, or the points awarded is going to be determined after that. The other thing there is they are going to do quitting penalties. So if you're in a team and you quit the arena, you're automatically going to be flagged as quitting every single game out of that session.
Yeah.
So you can't quit. You have to. You're in it to win it or lose it, depending on what it is. So
right.
I'm excited to see what this looks like. I'm excited to give it a try. I think it's going to give a different twist to what skirmishes are. I think it's also going to drive more people to skirmishes than this, because playing 6 games in a row is going to be a little tiresome.
Yeah.
Especially
maybe it could be nice though.
Yeah. Oh, so the other thing, they're also going to change, dampening is going to happen differently. And so is regeneration. So like mana regeneration in that is going to not happen at the same rate as a regular arena. So basically it's set up so you faster, diminish healing effects are going to be implemented faster and at a harsher rate, so that the games don't go to like 20 minutes each. It's driven for fast gameplay.
Gotcha.
So it's going to be pop all your cooldowns and
and just let it fly.
Exactly. So
cool.
Last 2. So Icy Veins did a post. This one's really weird.
Yeah.
So they did a post showing a person riding what is assumed to be what they're saying is going to be the Season 3 Gladiator mount. I don't understand how they have an in-game shot of a person sitting on top of a mount of the next season when the PTR isn't out yet. So either there's some doctoring of so based on some data mining, it looks like that's the right mount. But again, we all know data mining isn't 100%, right? Blizzard can change things, whatever. Anyways, the big thing is that ultimately the new Glad mount for Season 3 looks just like the Season 2 mount, or pretty darn close to it, with the exception that the eye color is different. In the meantime, the Mythic Plus players are getting a really kick-ass looking mount. So PvPers
that's par for the course. That's par for the course, though. So, like, if that wasn't par for the course, you'd be a little bit more like, maybe this isn't true.
Mm-hmm.
But because it is, it probably is true.
Probably is true. Anyway, long and short of it is a whole bunch of players have been on Twitter tagging the @Warcraft devs, asking them for a different mount because Season 3 looks like it's going to be the last season. There are actually more Glad mounts. So Blizzard does this. They build like X number of mount the assets, and so they build a model and they just recolor it depending on the seasons.
Exactly.
So I think there's like 5 Gladiator mounts for Shadowlands, and this just happened to be the next one in the cycle. They can probably swap it out. Apparently, there's a really kick-ass looking red one that is similar to in colorization to the Mythic Plus, but it's the Drake, the Gladiator Drake model.
Yep,
looks really good. So anyway, players are asking for Blizzard to consider changing it up and maybe giving them a bit more than just a eye color change in their next mount. So we'll see what happens. If it's true. And last but not least, again, hot fixes, because there's always hot fixes. That said, the only thing that I think it released on hot fixes was the Korik's Revenge, the 17th anniversary event, the classicized version of Arathi or Ultrak Valley. So I guess they're having some issues with it in the tool tips and queuing into it and whatnot. There's been a couple of hot fixes, but that's all been fixed. So it looks like people are having no issues getting into Korik's Revenge. Highly recommend. If you are trying to level a tune, go run Korik's Revenge. Grab your plus 17% trinket or anniversary bonus and go slap a tune into Korik's Revenge. And I think it was a level for every win, or like a level and a half.
Wow.
That's what it was last year when they did it, and that was at 16%. So now we're at 17%, and I'm pretty sure it's the same thing. And because the Pilgrim's Bounty bonus or event started today, if you go to the Pilgrim Bounty and do the eat at the tables, you get yourself a reputation bonus there too. I think it's experience as well. Don't quote me on that, but I know it's reputation. So the 2 stack. So you end up with a 27% bonus, at least for reputation. I'm not sure. So if you're really interested in getting some reputation, go do that as well. Which is really, really handy if you need to go do BG, because BGs, they all have those reputations, right? Andolin, Grant, actually, do you have all your PvP reputations maxed?
No, it's too crazy. Like back when that was going on and in Classic, like I think I want to say it was like 4-hour queue time.
Yeah,
like an 80. So no.
Are you gonna go now?
if I could have queued and done it, I'll do a grind. I'm not gonna wait for 4 hours. I can't do. There's just no way.
Okay.
But I did back in the day.
Yeah.
I did all that rep grinding.
Wow. Yeah, I think even on the tune that I've had ever since vanilla, I still think I don't have them all. I don't have all of them exalted. So
yeah, I've done Warsong, but not the others.
I don't know if I had them all, but I'd probably at least have like AV. But you needed to grind so much.
Yeah. And not die.
What you're saying, because you get it faster if you win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. Yeah, I kind of want to, but again, I don't know if I don't know. I'm kind of tossed up between that and just leveling a bunch of alts, get my alt army back up to 60.
Yeah.
We'll see. Andolin, do you have all yours maxed out?
No, I've only got Warsong.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm like close on others, but not.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'd have to look. I can't remember. I think Warsong Gulch is the one I have maxed out. All right, shoutouts. Grant, I'll give you the floor first. Do you want to shout out anybody?
Just shout out. I mean, you guys, thank you so much for having me. Obviously, matchreno.com. We're looking for TOs always, and brand and publisher. I know, just thank you guys for all that you do. And yeah, I can't wait for some more WoW RPGs to work on together.
Yeah. Appreciate it, buddy. Thank you.
Yeah, soon we'll announce the next tournament.
All right. I look forward to it.
Likewise.
Andolin, any shoutouts for you?
No, not today.
Not today. All right. Well, I'm going to shout out both of you guys for showing up here and doing this. Grant, always a pleasure working with you. And
thank you so much.
Oh, thanks. No, I really appreciate appreciate everything you're doing over at Match Reno. Not just WoW Esports, but definitely on the WoW Esports side. I think the community-driven side is something that's sorely missed, and you guys are doing what you can out there to do the community organization proud.
Much appreciated. We'll take
Thank you. All right. You already said where to find you, but Andolin, can you tell our listeners where they can find us?
Absolutely. You can visit. Oh, sorry. Sure. You can contact us directly with a tweet to @technically_PvP or by an email to technicallypvp@gmail.com. You can also join our discussions on the Warcraft Radio Discord, specifically in our Technically PvP Discord channel. Also, you can visit the Warcraft Radio website to find the podcast directory with us and many other great shows at warcraftradio.com. This new directory also has a review system. So head over there, tell everyone what you think of your favorite shows, and then leave a review for us.
Yes, hopefully. And as always, links for everything is going to be in the show notes. I want to thank everybody for listening. Thank you for everybody live for watching. And we're going to talk with you next time. Good night, everybody.
Yeah.
Good night. Thank you.
And